I want to talk very quickly about the 2024 general election, and obviously from a mainstream political point of view, there's not much choice, is there? We've got the Labour Party, which is going to bring in horrendous far left policies. Despite what they say, they are stacked with communists, Trotskyists, religious extremists, and they will play to their base. They're not the friends of the right, and I believe persecution is coming down the road if the Labour Party get in. So how do we mitigate that? I've looked at the issue with reform. I've looked at the issue with the Conservative Party. It's a mess, to be honest with you. Rishi Sunak has massively let the British people down, massively let the patriotic people of this country down. The Brexiteers, that 17.4 million that voted for Brexit and have been betrayed consistently. The people of Northern Ireland have been betrayed by Boris Johnson and by Rishi. The Conservatives, in my mind, are not fit for purpose. And the problem is, we've got the Reform Party as well. And when you look at the Reform Party, are they any different? And I really don't think they are that different. And that is the problem. For this general election, we really do not have any choice. And that's what I'm saying there is borne out by a recent poll that they just published on GB News, where, let me get this right, 26% of people didn't want to vote for any of the parties that are standing, including Reform, and 21% of the voting population had not made up their minds. So that leaves 47% of voters. Now, this isn't just the population, this is people who are registered to vote. 47% of voters either don't want to vote for any of those parties or have not made their minds up. That is a massive constituency that is not being listened to. It has been ignored. It has been rejected by the liberal elites. And I'll be honest with you, I class Richard Tice and Nigel Farage as part of the liberal elite. I don't class them as any different. They put a different rosette on, but at heart they're Tories, and they may be slightly more right-wing leaning than many people in the Tory party. But I think what this country needs is a radical change, and we're not going to get it for this general election. So what would I do if I was in England? Let's say I live in Northern Ireland. Again, we've got my own constituency is torn apart by a similar contention to what's happening in Great Britain. In Great Britain, if Reform weren't standing, it would be very likely there would be a hung parliament. That's just, people might not like this, but these are just the statistical facts. If Reform gobble up loads of Conservative votes, you may get a couple of Reform MPs. If they get up to 30%, you may get quite a few Reform MPs. But you're not going to get them forming a majority government. You're not going to get Nigel Farage as Prime Minister. If you think that, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. And again, my wife is preparing to bake some humble pie for me if I've got all this wrong. She keeps saying to me, I'm going to make humble pie that you're going to have to eat, and it won't be nice what's in the ingredients. So if I'm wrong about all this, I will eat humble pie and I will apologise, because it is human to err. These are just my opinions. And again, I can't influence anybody or tell anybody what to do or how to do it. But the reality of the situation as it stands is Reform is going to steal a few votes from the Labour Party, not enough to make a massive difference, steal a massive amount of votes from the Conservative Party, and instead of having a hung parliament where we have two rotten parties squabbling and not being able to pass any meaningful legislation, we're going to have one extreme left-wing party that's completely infested with the woke mind virus, that's completely infested with Islamism, completely infested with communism, and is also globalist, World Economic Forum, global elite to the core. That's what we're going to have if the Labour Party get a massive majority. And that's what Reform's going to deliver, unfortunately. I wish it was different, and I wish Reform was different. But I cannot trust a party. I've thought a lot about this. I cannot trust a party that allows hope, not hate, to pick their candidates. I can't trust a party that is being disingenuous, to say the least, with their one in, one out, net zero immigration policy. And I've spoken about that until I'm blue in the face, about how we're going to trade Bill and Tarquin and Jeremy. Bill the builder, who's made millions of pounds in the construction industry, Tarquin the lawyer, and Jeremy the heart surgeon for Asif, Abdul and Mohammed from Afghanistan, Somalia and Syria. That's what the one in, one out policy means. It still means it'll be hundreds of thousands of people coming into this country, and it still means that we've got a massive problem with mass immigration into the United Kingdom. They don't have an answer for it. The reality is there should be a complete moratorium on all immigration, and we should select a very limited number of high-skilled people that for jobs that British people can't do and bring them in. All the other jobs should be filled by people that already live in the country. There's 9 million people are economically inactive. Why do we need to bring another million in a year? It's absolute lunacy. So, in this election, you are left with very, very little choice. And getting back to my own constituency, which I was talking about earlier, in my constituency, we're going to have a splitting of the vote. Exactly what Reform and the Conservatives are going to do to the right-wing vote in England, Scotland and Wales. In my constituency, North Down, we've got a great guy, Alex Easton, great constituency, MLA. Obviously, that's at the Northern Ireland Local Assembly. He's standing for Parliament. He should have been a unity candidate. At the minute, we've got a progressive, left-wing, I believe, soft Republican, Dr. Farry sitting in the seat. He's called his constituents racist. He's regularly abused unionists and loyalists, and he's sitting in what is a unionist seat. And what's going to happen is Alex Easton's going to stand, and Tim Collins, the war hero, SAS legend, is going to stand as well. And the unionist vote's going to be split. So to me, one of them has to stand down. Either Tim stands down or Alex stands down. It's as simple as that. There has to be a coming together, and there has to be one unity candidate. Will it happen? I very much doubt it. I very much doubt it. So what I'm seeing in North Down, in Northern Ireland, is a microcosm of what's happening across Great Britain. And we're going to end up with a progressive, liberal elite, woke mind virus, Islamist coalition running our country for 5 years. The prospects for freedom, the prospects for prosperity, the prospects for good governance are horrendous. They don't have a plan, but neither does anybody else. So what am I getting to in all this? Well, the reality is I think everybody should vote. You should look at your constituency in great detail. Look at what you can, if you can actually make change in your constituency by voting for a candidate that agrees with what we agree with. And that could be a Reform candidate, because Reform aren't going to stand down. It could be a Conservative candidate, because the Conservative Party aren't going to stand down either. So, but you've got to find a candidate. It could be UKIP. Find a candidate that actually represents what you believe, and find out if your vote can actually make a difference, and you can actually change things in your local area. That's what we've got to do for this election. I've decided I'm going to vote for my local guy, Alex Easton, and back him over Tim Collins, because he's done a lot of local constituency work and he's got a big base anyway. So he's got a far better chance of winning than Tim Collins. So that's what I'm going to do. I've just been honest about my voting intention. And I like both guys. I know Tim Collins and I know Alex Easton, and they're both great guys. Whatever constituency you're in, you've got to think about what policies these people agree with. And once this election's done, and again, I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope Farage smashes it and actually manages to win the election. That'd be an amazing thing. But I don't think for a minute he will. And we're going to end up with a massive Labour majority, unless there's an upset that has never been seen before, even bigger than Brexit. So that's for this election. That's for 2024. What do we do after that? And that's where I get to the 27th of July. On the 27th of July, we are having a mass festival of freedom. We want people from all different backgrounds, all different races, all different areas of the country. We want people from the Republic of Ireland. We want people from Northern Ireland. We want people from Scotland, Wales, England. We want people from Europe, America to come to this festival of freedom. It's going to be held in Trafalgar Square. We've got the permissions. We're just working out a route, how to get there and where we're going to get there from. And obviously we keep that under wraps because we don't want the lefties or sinister people attacking our march. But we've got some really good routes in mind. It's going to be a great day. And we really need big numbers. But I don't think that's going to be hard to get big numbers, because so many people are saying that they want to come. About half a dozen people that I know in Northern Ireland are saying they're going to travel. So it's going to be an amazing day. There's a lot of planning, a lot of work to go in the next 6 weeks to get this right. But the event that's going to be put on is going to be absolutely superb, and it's going to be even bigger than the one on the 1st of June. And the 1st of June was an amazing event, and it was a powerful event, and we're going to build on that. And then out of the seeds that we're planting now, we want to build a movement with 30 million people in it. There's 37 million people agree with us on immigration. 95% of the population believe that multiculturalism as it stands has failed. This is polling data. So the vast majority of the British people are on our side and believe what we believe. The vast majority of British people don't agree with the sexualization of children. The vast majority of British people do not buy into what used to be called political correctness, but now we call the woke mind virus. The majority of genuine, real people, hardworking people, the proper people from all races, all backgrounds, despise this sort of nonsense. And I would say actually the majority of Muslim people despise this nonsense as well. So we have got to build a massive and broad coalition to defeat the enemies of freedom, to defeat the enemies of common sense, and to defeat the enemies of our Judeo-Christian heritage. Because that's what this is about. This is an onslaught on what it means to be British. And I've talked at length about what it means to be British in my mind, and we'll go into that in more detail in other videos. So what we need to do is we need to build from the 1st of June, we need to build from the 27th of July, we need to build the ideology first, so everybody believes very, very similar things, if not exactly the same things. That's what ideology is all about. If you all believe the same thing, you can move together as an army, no matter who, even if you don't know each other, you can move together as a political army and take this country back. Not by force, but by democratic means. That's the exciting thing about this. We are wanting to see a revolution, but a peaceful revolution that is a political revolution, and put things back the way they should be. So we start with the ideology, then we build the community. There's a great sense of togetherness and love at that last meeting, and I mean that. I'm not saying that in a soppy way. I'm not a soppy person, but there's a great sense of togetherness and peace and love and harmony among everybody that was there. And we need to build on that as well. So we need to build a community and a family. And we need to realize, and this is a message to anyone in the movement who's got grudges against people, who's, you don't like each other. Try and make it up, whatever it is. Try and bring all the different parts of this movement together and stand together, because the bigger picture is saving our country. And if we all stand together, united we stand, divided we fall. If we all stand together on these principles, we've got a massive chance of winning. So we work out the ideology, and that's what the 9th of July is going to be about, working out exactly what the ideology is. We work out the ideology, we build the community, and then from the community, we build politics. And we've got to do it really quick. We've got to get people on board really, really fast. This election is really, it's kind of a fake election. It's like a phony war. Nothing's going to change except we're going to go further to the left. In 5 years' time, we want to see a political movement with 30 million people in it who will vote, who sign up to the common sense principles that we're going to thrash out in the next few weeks, and who believe in this country and love this country. And like Paul Thorpe says, whose heart is red, white and blue. Doesn't matter what colour your skin is, doesn't matter what house of worship you go to. What we're bothered about is your heart red, white and blue? And does the Union Jack, when you see it, do you feel proud and full of joy to see your national flag? That's the sort of people that we're looking for. That's what we're aiming for. We've a massive battle ahead of us, but I believe with God's help that we can do it and we can win it. I'll see you all soon.